Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life with best-selling author and coach Kathy Williams, a show to help you tap into the support of the universe and access the abundance that's available in every area of your life. Listen in for conversations and tools to create more ease, joy, and possibility with family, relationships, business, and living. Kathy's joyful perspective will help you tap into your own wisdom and create a life of presence and abundance your way. Listen live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, or anytime on iTunes or at IOM FM.
Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and today's conversation is about self-care, especially when you're caring for everybody else, which is the case for a lot of us. More so now, possibly than ever in our lives, because of forced home time and homeschooling and the break in our patterns that we're not used to. So this show will be filled with strategies for not only nurturing others, but also nurturing ourselves simultaneously, because sometimes we feel like the candle is being burned at both ends when we have so much more added to our plate. So the first thing is, you know what? You don't have to be the most productive person right now. I know it would be nice to be. I know a lot of us have like, oh, I don't have to go here, or I don't have the same possibly workload or commute. So therefore, I'm going to write my book, and I'm also going to, lose 15 pounds, and I'm going to do this and that. And while all these goals and targets are really nice, sometimes it's just time for us to have a real break. And so if one of those things feels like it's not added pressure and it feels like, yes, this is a fun thing to go for, by all means, go for it. But just know that you do not have to be the most productive person and write the best-selling novel and develop a six-pack and everything else, right? Learn how to cook souffles and all that stuff. It's just like, let's take an exhale, because the world is such an outward, sort of, if we're thinking of a yin-yang, a yang place, outgoing, striving, this and that. And right now, we're being forced to stay in and possibly even go inward. So that said, it's important to set up our environment for success. And before we dive in completely, I was listening to the show intro today, and honestly, I was a bit of a hot mess. I know that that's a common feeling right now. I've heard it from that exact phrase from 2 or 3 friends in the past 2 days, and it's like, what if that's okay? What if it's okay to be that way right now? And what if you're not the only person in it? Other people are in it too, and just that alone can be of help. So I was like, my first mic and headset wasn't very clear, didn't sound loud, and so I was scrambling to untangle the other one to shut it up, and just sort of like, the phrase there, but for the grace of God go I, came to mind, and for me that strikes a chord, because in so many ways it's like a lot of times I don't know how stuff gets done. It just does. How do I end up teaching, across the world? It just happens, and so instead of forcing and making things happen, just allowing it to show up and know that there's a grace that we can kind of soften into and settle into. And we don't always know the why during the time. We don't all know exactly why we're quarantined, except this idea that there's, a super bug that attacks the immune system of 40-year-olds as readily as 80-year-olds. Now, that may or may not be true. But what we do know is that the point of power is in this moment, that what we have control over is how we show up right here, right now, not reacting to what is, but responding to what is. And so we're going to talk about some strategies today to help you respond in calmer ways, especially as you're cooped up with more people than maybe you're used to. And of course, a lot of this is relevant even when we're not in quarantine. So as always, I would love to hear from you at any point. The best places to reach me are at meetkathywilliams.com. A great place is also Facebook. And if you do send a friend request, please send me a little note as well. Otherwise, you end up in a long list of Henry James and Frank Allen, who request friends, and they're really, just some random dude who I'm not going to become friends with. So send a little note, okay? I would love to hear from you about show ideas or your questions or what's unclear. We all have that from time to time, and it's just nice to make this all relevant to you. So how do you care for yourself when you don't have a spare minute? All right. As one listener pointed out, we're making meals for our kids all day long. There are 3 meals plus snacks, and the kids are constantly hungry and on the go. So one of the big things is setting ourselves up for success. Right? For me, that means setting up a rhythm that's not a structure, but it's a rhythm. So our rhythm is 25 minutes of work for my kids, age 7 and 10. Now, my 10-year-old, he can do a lot more than 25 minutes, but my 7-year-old, we're lucky if we get 25 minutes. So 25 minutes of work followed by 25 minutes of play. Okay? Snacks can be in between, bathroom breaks can be in between, stuff like that. But we just keep setting the timer, 25 minutes. Okay, now 25 minutes again. And for us, that structured rhythm without being too, you must do reading from 11:15 to 11:40. That doesn't work so well. It's actually, I say, okay, would you like to do reading or grammar or math first? Okay, we're using Khan Academy because it's online. Our school system is not moving forward with teaching. It's doing a lot of review, which for him is a little bit boring. So we're free to participate or not participate. And for us, just Khan Academy, KHAN. If you don't know about it, free. It's online. They have stuff for adults and kids, and it's a pretty incredible endeavor. And of course, they accept donations and things like that for their very vast curriculum. So my 10-year-old is very diligent. He'll do his own thing a lot of the time, except when he needs me. And when he needs me, he really needs me. And initially, that was a bit of I think frustration for us both. For example, I was teaching my 84-year-old yoga student on Zoom the other day, and you know what? When I'm wearing this is the signal that it's quiet time, or you need to do your own thing, and you can check in with me later. You can write me a note if you need to. So these fluid boundaries, where one of the biggest things that it's important for the kids to know, or anyone to know, is like, all of this is done from a loving space, and it's actually done so I can serve you better, okay? Because if I'm at your beck and call all of the time, I'm going to get irritable, like extremely irritable. And so if I have these times when we don't actually interact, I'm going to be more present for you when we do interact. This is new for all of us. I had this conversation with my kids. I'm like, this is new for all of us, and it's not easy necessarily. So let's make the best of it. And ultimately, what people will remember is the attitude and the energy that we're present with, right? The attitude and the energy that is the predominant energy. That doesn't mean you're not going to have your moments, or any of us aren't going to have our moments where we're just like, I've definitely had that. But it's what's the predominant energy? And then let's not make ourselves wrong for those moments when we're just like, beep. And so that, I mentioned a few things to do with the environment, like the rhythm. And that may also involve being really aware of how much movement everybody's body needs. When do we function better? Like, do we focus more in the morning or in the afternoon? Is it better for us to move our bodies hard and then we're a little bit ready to sit and read a book? And how can I make all of this fun? So, for my family, choices make things a little bit more fun. So we went on this program called OutSchool. And OutSchool has all sorts of classes for kids. And they picked their own classes, which means I have time to actually nourish me when they're doing their classes, which are an hour. High involvement. Some of the classes are pre-recorded, so you can pick the time. You're like, oh gosh, it's 3 o'clock. I need a break from everyone. Let's turn on those classes for them, which can be done from iPads, computers, phones, any of it. And let me just go do some yoga. Let me take a breather. So we'll talk a little bit about other times to take a breather. But this idea of, when do we require movement? When do we require food? When do we, in and of our own rhythm? And your rhythm may not be the same as your family, so you might need food 2 hours later, and honoring that. So this listener brought up the idea of, oh gosh, I'm cooking all day long, I have food all day long. And so sitting and brainstorming and being like, okay, what are easier ways to get everyone fed? Is that the kids learn how to, do spaghetti, fill a pot with water, turn on the stove, or get help to turn on the stove, and simple ways for people to contribute, but also simple ways to get everyone fed, like using an Instapot or a crock pot, right? Where in the morning when you're making something already, you can just throw everything in there and have it ready in the evening. And what are some strategies, and sitting and brainstorming some strategies to make everything easier? What are your sort of contraction points? Whether that is every afternoon at 3 p.m., all of us are bitter, or it's really the food aspect, or I can't get my child to do math, or, whatever it is, like sitting with that for a moment. And I like to do what's called a brain dump. So sitting with something for 5 minutes and coming up with everything without filtering, all the solutions without filtering. So Some of those solutions may even be kind of goofy, ridiculous, not make sense, silly, not workable. It doesn't matter. You write all of them down, because from that uncensored kind of creative flow, a lot of times the real solution emerges. And that way you've sat for 5 minutes and it's something you have a solution, a workable solution from that. So as we go to break, that might be something you like to do. What's a sticky point for me right now? And then just sit and come up with some solutions. And we'll be back in just a moment. Thanks for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. You can always find me at meetkathywilliams.com.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. I'm so grateful you're here. As a listener, you can pop over to meetkathywilliams.com and get 20% off any item in the shop, including videos, energy pulls, even private sessions, by entering the code SMRadio. Also at meetkathywilliams.com, you can download a free Create Your Life exercise and join me for online classes and Hawaii retreats. And if you're stuck, helping you get unstuck is my specialty. I'd love to work with you one-on-one.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and today our conversation is about self-care and kind of strategies for not only taking care of ourselves, which we will get into, like nurturing the body, calming the mind, stuff like that, but also strategizing so there's more harmony overall. Because if we don't do that, then what happens is, tension builds up because certain things aren't working, right? If we can prevent that tension from building up, then we have less we have to decompress from. Now, decompression, not only when you're scuba diving, but also in real life is important. But strategizing to make sure that, we don't get compressed in the first place is a wise activity. All right, so we talked a little bit about the brain dump where you're sitting down and just for 5 minutes letting any kind of solutions come for wherever you're feeling a little sticky or compressed in your life, and then taking a look at those solutions and saying, hey, which one of these would actually work? Okay. You know, for me with food, a lot of my kids' food has to do with leaving tangerines and bananas and nuts and even cereal out so that they can snack on that when it's snack time, which is not dictated by me. I know for some of you that's not what you like to do. You know, you like to have more control over the mealtime and stuff like that. And what if we could let go of some of the control freakness, right? So that everybody's happier. And so only we get to know which battles to pick and which to fight and which to let go of. But, you know, just entertaining the idea of what is worth fighting for and what is worth kind of letting go of in this time that's new for everyone. You know, for my children, one of them is super social, so it's been hard for him to not have that interaction time. And so, you know, for us, getting physical in ways that work for everybody are important. And one of those here is tickle time, which is a decompression for everyone. Like, that is self-care for me, to hear my kids laugh and to laugh along with them. So we do tickle time every day, and I hear about it if we haven't done it, for sure. And getting moving, right? Getting everyone's endorphins flowing, not only through tickling, but through taking a walk. Or we have a giant trampoline, so jumping on the trampoline, you know, finding ways that work for everyone. Maybe they don't want to go on a walk, and they want to, you know, kick a ball around, so they can kick the ball between themselves, and I can just walk around the property, right? So these compromises where it's not an either or, it's an and. Okay? So where can you find ands in your life where it's not either or, it's and, or something completely new? I love to paint. Painting is a self-care activity for me. Painting, dancing, all these things. And these are things I can do with or without the other people in my household. And, you know, it's really interesting because my husband works at the hospital. So he is quarantined away from us right now. I'm single parenting 2 kids, one of whom loves social interaction. The other one's okay. And so it's really interesting. So how can we get everybody their social interaction? I mean, for me, sometimes it's just like, I need space away from you all. So yes, you can watch YouTube while I go read a book, or while I work on my project, or maybe that's my project is done during the 25 minutes of work time. We all have dear time together, drop everything and read. And even if you don't have a kid or a kid that's old enough to read, you know, you can have that be, it's time for us to look at picture books, right? And as you look at your book, I'm going to be reading my book, and you're a big person. It's so even when my kids were little and I felt stressed and strained by having to do all the things, even get them water, I started to be like, you know what? You're big enough to get the water now, so here's a stool, and you can get it yourself. So how much can you actually empower the people in your household, whether they be teens or medium-sized kids or little kids, to step it up a notch and do some of the things that you feel like you have to be doing for them? making dinner? You know, who says you can't have sandwiches that they make? Or, you know, taking things to the mailbox or whatever it is. You know, it's like, how much can we co-create this so that they're empowered and I also get some relief not having to be the person who does all the things. So I talked a little bit about setting the stage, like creating an environment for success, you know, a rhythm, making sure people are fed when they're hungry and actually water here. Sometimes we get headaches if we don't have enough water. Also for me, that means an environment that's not too hot. Like self-care for me is making sure the fans are on in whatever room I'm in. Otherwise, I will get irritable and it's not pretty. The other thing for me is awakening early enough that I have my own time and I get to write and connect inward, meditate, before I interact with anyone else. And that way, that's foundational for my calm, peaceful day. So I'm not immediately swept by the winds of other people's desire, requirements, and needs. And I think this is important not only during this time, but at all times. Like a lot of people reach for the phone to check emails, Facebook, text, you name it, before they even get out of bed. And all of that is generally what other people want from you, right? Oh, can I have a session? Or, oh, I need this paper. Or, oh, you know, and they want your attention instead of you really giving your attention to yourself, to spirit, to your own inner wisdom, and to allow whatever, you know, I love to create in the mornings with writing, just to allow things to be pulled out of me. That creative, you know, force to be unobstructed before everyone wakes up and before I'm checking all these external things. So that's a beautiful way of setting the stage and setting the environment for self-care time. And for you, it may not be meditating, it may be, or writing, it may be taking a nice warm bath or doing some exercise or aerobic activity before anybody even gets up, or doing your project as well. What is a caring, nurturing environment for you, you know, to work from? And that might be, like for me, the back porch where there are the birds and a breeze and the wind chimes, or it might be bed or the kitchen table, feeling a little bit more sleepy. And you may like to honor that, even if your kids don't that much, right? I'm still resting. Or you may like to, do some guided rest and relaxation, like yoga nidra. And it's a beautiful relaxation practice you can find online, like on YouTube. I will likely be leading a yoga nidra process online, and you can go on my website, meetkathywilliams.com, and be updated about that, because it's a practice I've been doing a lot recently for nice deep rest. Just honoring like where everybody is, even if we're in a space of like, and one of the important things is acknowledging, oh gosh, I'm feeling sad right now. I'm feeling until it no longer works for me. You know, I like this little process. I'm choosing this. Let's say you're sad. I'm choosing to be sad. And I'm choosing this because I think it works for me. Does it really? And then sometimes it's, yeah. Okay, well, how could I feel free right now in this moment? Okay, well, I have my deep breath. Oh, I'm free to turn on the music. Let's have a dance party. Huh? I'm free to express. Like my son was feeling aggression the other day, like frustration, and so we got this yoga bolster, and I held it while he punched it, and it felt so good for him to just express that, like, because he thinks this whole thing is stupid, you know, and he's 10 years old, he's entitled to his opinion, and you know, just moving that energy. And moving that energy, if you have to get in the car and yell, and that's self-care, do it. Right? So I wanted to address some of the other things people said. You know, this woman is saying that her kids earned their, screen time, right? Like by cleaning the floor or cleaning their room. Suddenly it's cleaned really fast because they're earning something that's, you know, that they enjoy. Helping relieve, again, your load, loading the dishwasher, sweeping, hauling out the trash. She said, you know, she had to sign off on their screen time and work first, play after, and there were not complaints about that. That was just what they're used to. Right? So how can you also get your kids to help you have whatever time you need? Like, oh, you know, I feel so much better when I have 15 minutes to have a cup of tea and, you know, organize my desk. Would you do that for me? Can you read? We'll set the timer and read for 15 minutes, and then I can talk to you. Mm-hmm. So if a schedule is useful for you, using a schedule. Again, I said a flexible rhythm works really well for us, where it's like expectations are known, right? A little math today, a little reading, a little grammar, writing, some stuff. But you get to pick the order, and we're going to do it in 25-minute increments. All right. Who is this? I think this is Shakti said, my older son has a schedule of movement, 8 a.m., noon, and 3 p.m. He has to do something. Run, bike, walk, yoga. Again, it's his choice. And gardening has been fun and rewarding. So what can you choose that's like self-care for you and everyone? And gosh, it's passing so quickly. We'll be back in 20 minutes. If you want to flip your questions over to me, do that at meetkathywilliams.com, or Facebook is also a great place to do that. I'll see you back in we'll be back in a few, and then we have 20 more minutes. Where's my brain? I'll see you in a few.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free, ascendinghearts.com.
Hey everyone. Thanks for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. I'm so grateful you're here. As a listener, you can pop over to meetkathywilliams.com and get 20% off any item in the shop, including videos, energy pulls, even private sessions, by entering the code SMRadio. Also at meetkathywilliams.com, you can download a free Create Your Life exercise and join me for online classes and Hawaii retreats. And if you're stuck, helping you get unstuck is my specialty. I'd love to work with you one-on-one.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, it's Kathy, and this is Sexy Mom Abundant Life, and we are talking today about self-care, particularly in this time of togetherness, kind of forced togetherness when we're with people, the same people, a lot of the time, and we don't get to interact face-to-face with so many other people. Now, as we were on the break, I was just thinking about a lot of it comes down to mindset. And if we feel like I don't have choices, then a lot of times we get really frustrated, constrained, and feel confined. Instead of being like, wow, I actually have a lot of choices. I have, first off, the choice in how I react or respond, right? Second, I have a choice in, okay, all these different activities for moving my body. All these activities in terms of what we do right now. Are we going to read? I love Greek myths. So I've been reading my kids Greek myths, and in the evening, we always go over what were our favorite parts of the day. And everybody's favorite part, at least one of them, is those Greek myths, sitting and reading those, actually being in bed, and reading those together. So how can you weave in the things that are really fun and nourishing for you and even funny into the day so that they become an activity that everyone enjoys? Another thing I really love is astronomy. And my son and I enrolled in this, well, actually, I enrolled him. No, he picked it. Okay, he picked it. On outschool.com, it's an astronomy and Harry Potter class. And we had a great time with that. It's, I think, 4 times an hour long. And we just went through learning about constellations and planets and all different things with a little Harry Potter woven in. So it's like, what kind of activities are self-care for you? If eating a cookie is self-care for you, would you give yourself that permission? This is different kinds of times, right? Or even learn to cook some different kind of healthy cookies. Okay, so finding things that are nourishing for you, like for me, baking is, and maybe I don't want to be eating all the baking, so I could freeze it or give it to a neighbor or something like that, and you might say, well, giving it to a neighbor right now, you don't want to spread the virus. Okay, just freeze it for later. Right? So finding what, and even writing a list of what activities do I really love that I haven't done in a long time that I could do now? Right? Knitting, painting. There's this cool art by Felix class that I got online. It was $27. It's I think 10 modules. And so my son loves to paint too, and he will do it with me. Although he doesn't want to learn to mix the paints or what kind of materials are useful. And so, I'm doing all of that. And then by the time we get to painting the tiger, he'll be on board. So we have lots of choice, even when we feel like we don't have choice, right? If you look at the master of attitude in the midst of confinement, Viktor Frankl, and he might be someone to read right now. Oh gosh, how did he maintain his attitude in the midst of like really tragic conditions? And then, I'm not in such tragic conditions. I mean, it's not all that fun all the time, but how can I make it fun and weave in the qualities of joy and ease and flow and magic and movement and empowerment? All of the qualities that I'd like to have in my life are all available right now in this moment. I don't have to go and be someone different to have those. Let me access those in my own being right now. And let's actually do that, because that is one of the most nurturing activities you can do. And you can do this before you get out of bed, or right before a meal, or right as you're going to sleep. You can do this. So go ahead and let's do it in a different way today. So close your eyes if you can. You could be on a walk and still do this. What I'd like you to do is identify 3 qualities that you'd really like to have more of in your life. And as you breathe in, breathe those qualities in. You can focus on one at a time, or you can breathe in all 3. And as you breathe out, breathe those qualities out into the space around you. So let's say more harmony and ease and balance, okay? You would breathe all of that in and then breathe it out into the space around you. And as you breathe it in, sense it permeating not only your lungs and your belly and your heart, but all down your arms, your brain, the muscles that express your personality, so the eyes, the cheeks, all of it. Breathe in, and when you breathe it out, you're breathing it out to anybody and anything else that would also like more of those qualities. All the beings that would like that. All right, so you're expanding all those on planet Earth. Receiving and releasing. Because whatever we focus on, we get more of. So if that's the case, wouldn't it make sense to focus more on the things that we would like to grow and cultivate in our lives? Receiving and releasing. And this is something you can teach to your children. It's something they could even remind you, which is super awesome. Receiving and releasing, and then invite every molecule of this universe to contribute to these qualities expanding in your life into your future. So engaging across the universe from right and left and front and back, above and below, coming into your body, receiving these qualities and blossoming them in your life. And then send little trickles of energy to all the people, places, events, experiences, beings, and energies that will help contribute to this growing in your life. And you can do this with any quality, any energy. They're all available to you. When you're in a quality you don't like, it's just like wearing a shirt that you're just, it's not working for me right now. Okay, what shirt would I rather wear? What energy would I rather wear? What energy is available to me that would be more enjoyable than this? There's always one, more than one. Okay, so tapping into that. And sometimes it requires, oh, geez, you know what? I really need to go watch Ellen on YouTube for 10 minutes to just shift my space. Watch something hilarious. She has this thing called funny autocorrects, something like that. Oh my goodness. Poor people who have these autocorrects and send them in. Or photos, like what's wrong with this photo? If you're in the mood for something funny, Ellen or Graham Norton. The Graham Norton show is another hilarious one because the guests, who are all famous people, drink on the show. So it's very, it's really hilarious. They tell stories that you're like, I can't believe you just told that story. So breaking our state and changing it into the state we'd rather be in, or the space or the energy we'd rather be in, is so important. And if that means going back to your old practices, whether they be, pranayama, breathing practices, or yoga, or Nia, or writing, or listening to a guided meditation, or Tai Chi, or whatever it is, to reset. What are 3 activities you can use to reset? Maybe for you that's organizing. Maybe it's putting on music. Okay? But reset, that's almost what the entire world, I almost said universe, who knows? The entire world is being called to do right now. Reset. It's time for a little bit of change, right? You can't be in those old patterns, perpetuating those patterns. What's a useful reset? And you'll notice that I've been asking a number of questions to kind of explore. What are useful solutions for this? What would be some activities I could do to reset? What are some nurturing activities we can all do together? Right? Asking those questions is like shining your flashlight in that direction. And that's shining your awareness in a particular direction that will help you have more awareness there, right? You're shining, you're looking that direction, so you're going to have more wisdom bubble to the surface in regard to that. And it may not come that instant, in that moment. You may have to sleep on it, or you may get the solution, somewhere from someone, and maybe even by asking others. Posting on Facebook, hey, y'all, what are you doing? That's interesting for you right now. And get, there are these fun science experiments. Or, we're all, pretending this, having picnics in the living room floor, eating pancakes for dinner, watching old family videos, adding to your life. Just by asking the question to gain some awareness. So write those lists, and that way, because a lot of times when we're in it, when we're in the crunchiness, that's the moment when our tools and our inner resources seem to go out the window, right? It's like exactly when you need the tool the most is sometimes when it's like, what do I do about this? And that's when, I used to have a list on the fridge of things I could do, things that are available for me, things that I like to do instead of eating. Because I used to eat, because of being bored, which thankfully that's not the case anymore. And I exercise a lot more, to shift the energy than I eat to shift the energy. Okay? Because exercise shifts the energy quickly. I can do 20 minutes of bar and be an amazing, thriving person when 15 minutes before I was flustered and frustrated, right? Which is why I've started doing bar classes online with people. Let's get those endorphins flowing and the movement and the muscles working, move some stress hormones out, and to feel better. So know that that's available as well. You know, I have online bar classes that you can come join and feel better and get fitter and be happier. And all of that is at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. And overall, it's really, how can you and those around you thrive together, right? We're all in it together. If you need to phone a friend, phone a friend. If you need to sit down as a group and come to some strategies about what works, do that, right? We're all in it together and we're a team. And when it's presented that way, and like, hey, I want harmony between us, I would like to have that. How can we do that from a calm place and space? Then when we're in the crunchy moments, we've already come to agreement and it becomes somehow easier. And so the last thing I want to leave you with is, don't make any of it wrong. Right now, it can be challenging for, kids, parents, grandparents, all the people. It's different for us. And we feel a little bit, confined sometimes, which is understandable. And so if emotions that aren't fun are arising, first off, how much of that is your awareness of everybody's funk versus how much of it is yours? And then, would it be okay to love the part of you that's feeling that way? Like, really give it some love. Thanks so much for watching, listening to Sexy Mom, Abundant Life, everyone. I'll be back next week with an exciting interview. The channel Paul Selig is one of my very favorite authors, and so I look forward to having him on the show. IOM.FM every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, 11 Hawaii, and always on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, our iHeartRadio, and meetkathywilliams.com/radio. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Have a great week. And if you can't wait till then, search all those places for replays of past shows.